Hello Wastebusters and welcome to the June episode of Waste Not Want Not. I'm bringing you this on the solstice, which is really pertinent because solstice means, well, the suffix, the stis part, the end part, actually means to stand and come to a stop. And the sol bit relates to the sun. And so it describes an astronomical phenomenon when the sun actually stays still in both hemispheres. And in the northern hemisphere, it's the longest day of the year. And here in the southern hemisphere, it's the shortest day. And the sol bit, although it means sun, I put a different emphasis on it, as in the soul, one's soul. And it's a beautiful way to describe the importance of taking time out and standing still to feel the energy, to reconnect with that fire in your belly and ensure that the energy that you're putting out is productive to you, which fits beautifully with my guest today, Louis Swart, because our conversation is all about taking the small steps and doing what we do best and delegating the rest to others, not wasting our time. Which also ties in with the fact that it's World Localization Day. And again, that's about not trying to solve the big problems. It's about bringing things down to the small local, what you can do and actually what fills you up. That's the important part of it. And a reminder that we're not meant to do everything ourselves. Everybody's got a unique skill set that they can contribute. And collectively, we can come together and really accelerate. And there's so much power in that. There's never an inscription on a grave honouring the fact that we've been busy. So if you don't want to shorten your life, then I would suggest that you take some time out and chill and listen to this conversation. Allow your soul to breathe and to recalibrate. Enjoy the conversation. Welcome to the show, Louis. Divine timing, as my last guest was all about business and you're all about business. As I said then, it's a very fine line between business and personal, isn't it? And I believe that there is always a story behind what we do. You've got a lot of business acumen behind you, but what drew you into doing what you're doing now?
I think it was lifestyle. We all want to kind of be our own boss and have a whole heap of extra spare time and as much money as what we want. And we kind of look at jobs and you go, well, in a job, I've kind of got to be in their office for 8 hours a day and an hour to get there and an hour to get home. And that's my whole life is gone.
Yeah.
And then you kind of see business owners and they're cruising around in the middle of the day and they're doing some fun stuff and you go like, wow, that's what I want. I want to do that. But I think entrepreneurs, we've just got it. It's just kind of something that's in us. I think when I was in school, I was selling mice to other kids in school. I was breeding and selling mice. We sold white mice and then we got a brown mice and eventually everybody had a mouse and like nobody wanted mice and our mice were still breeding. And so we didn't know what to do with them. And so we just got mum's food dye. And then we got the mice to swim through the food dye, like a little food dye dish. And they would come out the other side and there'd be a red mouse or a pink mouse or a green mouse or a blue mouse. And so we had a whole new market because, I mean, you've got a white mouse. That's so old school. You need a blue mouse. It was supply and demand. So I think from a very early age, it was learning those kind of things. But it's a very simple formula. Hey, people have got a problem. Find out what the problem is. Find out what the solution is. Go and sell them the solution. Literally, that's it. It was kind of what I got into.
Now it's a lot about AI and everybody puts the emphasis on it's going to take over everything. But really, from my point of view, it helps us in our personal life and in our business life. It's a tool. Now you can either do it for good or bad. And if you learn it and you recognize the extent of what it can do, it's absolutely phenomenal because it frees up your time. And as that's one of the emphasis of the program is not wasting our time, energy, or resources. What resources can we pull on? And that is your strength. And from what you say, although it might be slightly tongue-in-cheek about the mice changing colour, to me that says that you're very good at adapting with the change that comes in rather than just being frozen by it and thinking where to now. But also the other point I want to pick up is where you said everybody has a problem, but there might be like a handful of problems, but dealing with it with different personality, there's a definite different solution to everybody's single problem, possibly. Have you found that?
True. And people think, I want to solve all my problems. And that's a fallacy. If we solve a problem, we just create a bigger problem.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We just create a new problem or a better quality of problem. So if you're living in a cardboard box, you don't have a house, you're scrounging for food, that's a real problem. Okay. Now you've got a house and now you need furniture. That's a real problem. And now you get a bit more money and now you've got a house and now you've got to go out to dinner and you're having a big argument with your partner about where you're going to eat. That's a problem, right? So we've got problems. The levels of the problems are changing. We always talk about them as being first world problems, like, oh, the Wi-Fi is not working, the whole world's going to come to an end. And you go, I'm sure the little African children that are starving today feel exactly the same way about your Wi-Fi not working. And it's trying to put our problems into perspective.
Yeah.
But one of the big problems that people have is literally that they just end up working ridiculous amount of hours, especially when you work for yourself. If a boss said to you, okay, I want you to do this stuff and you can't go home until you finish it, okay? And you need to design this page in Canva as well. And then you were sitting there at 10 o'clock trying to, and you'd be like, this job sucks. I'm going to tell this boss what he can do with his job. But when we work for ourselves, it seems to be normal. I'm like, this is my business. And we'll work till all hours of the night. And that's one of the big things that we have is that people that are working for themselves are literally working like really, really hard. Lots of them are working way harder than if they ever went and got a job and for way less money than if they got a job. And that's why I wrote the book, The Bee Myth. It's all about the busyness and we attach our identity to that. So I go, hey, Philippa, how are you going? And you're like, I'm just so busy. It's got so much to do. And we kind of wear that as a badge of honor. And we all know people that are just so busy all the time and yet there's no money coming in.
Yeah.
Right. Or they're so busy and they're not making any headway in their life. Sometimes we do need to be busy, but the idea is to look at the outcome instead of the activities. So let's not look at what are the activities that we're going to do. Let's look at the outcome. What outcomes am I looking to achieve today? All right. Those outcomes are different for everybody. You might just go, you know what? At the end of today, I really just want to have helped 2 people, or I really just want to feel calm about my day. Or at the end of today, I want to have made a whole heap of money, or whatever that outcome is. And then we align all of our activities in line with whatever that outcome is.
Yeah.
That's really what this is about. I wrote this book initially like a manual, like a normal business book. Like chapter 1 was all on delegation. Chapter 2 was on how do you implement stuff. And then I looked at my bookshelf and I was like, man, I've got hundreds of books on my bookshelf and I've kind of half read half of them. And then I thought, what books did I really read? And generally, it's the parables. I don't think there's one parable on my shelf that I haven't read because they're easy. It's a story and you're engaged and you learn something along the way. And so I was like, well, how do I bring that into my book? And so then I rewrote the whole book, but as a parable. And so it's about a business owner and he's having his coffee and his wife goes, hey, morning. And he's looking at his coffee, but he's got like 27 unread emails and a message on his phone. And he's like, morning. He's not engaged at all. It goes all the way from there to how that plays out in his business with him being snowed under and all the way through the book. And then somebody comes into his world and teaches him how to do it. And the stuff that she's teaching him literally is stuff that I've been teaching people for the last decade on how to delegate better, how to implement stuff in your business, how to create systems in your business. And about 3/4 way through the book, the parable ends. It then says, if you just came for information, thank you very much. Just information on its own is entertainment. If you want to do some action, there's another section of the book, and that section's actually got activities that you can do that you can actually learn from. So you can read it as 2 books. You can read it as just a book, or you can read it as a book and an activity. Obviously, if you do the whole thing, you get way better benefit from it. And then, because we live in an age now where there's so much information, hey?
Too much.
Oh, too much, too much. So I've got the Millionaire Speaker Summit that's coming up. It's 4 days, it's for free. And we talk about how do you automate your business. There's 5 amazing speakers each day. And the first day is about how do you automate your business. The second day is how do you actually implement the stuff that you're learning. The third day is how do you monetize? So how do you actually make money out of what you're learning? And the fourth day is about what systems do you need to implement. And so each day, the monetize, for example, there's 5 people just talking about how to monetize better in your business. You're going to come away from that and have such a wealth of information.
So when is it?
It's between the 7th and the 10th. So it's July 7 to 10.
Right.
And it's from 7 o'clock in the morning until 11 o'clock.
And that's Australia time, Sydney
Australia time, yeah.
Till 11 a.m. or p.m.?
Until 11 a.m.
Right. I was going to say that's a long day.
Like, whoa, that's a big day. Okay.
Excellent. I'm really looking forward to that. You have to send me a link so I can put it out to the listeners and people watching. Can you turn those strategies into everyday life? Because from what you're saying about the bee myth, I guess somewhere in your story, the repercussions weren't only on his business life, ignoring his wife, it would have had a repercussion on home life as well, on his personal life.
Absolutely. On home life, on health.
Yes.
It goes through our whole world. I mean,
Yes.
it really affects your spirituality, your mental health, your home life, everything. Every part of your world actually gets affected by it. And a lot of times we actually hide behind being busy. So I have a term and it's called productive procrastination. Okay.
Yeah.
And you've got that credit card statement and you've got to reconcile it. Okay. And I can think of nothing worse in my life. All right.
It sends me cold too.
But you have the credit card statement, you got to do the reconciliation. You're like, today I've got to do it because the accountant's asked me like 10 times. I have to do it today. And then I come to my desk and I'm like, okay, I'm going to reconcile my credit card. And then I might even get it up on the computer screen. And then I'm like, actually, my desk is a little bit messy. Okay. I should probably just quickly clean my desk. So I quickly clean my desk. And then I look down and I'm like, well, actually the floor's a little bit, there's a couple of things on the floor. Okay, so I'll just get the vacuum. So then I vacuum the floor. I got the vacuum out. I might as well vacuum the house quickly. It's only quick. All amazingly productive things. You should clean your desk. You should rearrange your bookshelf. You should vacuum the floor, but not at the expense of doing the actual thing that you're supposed to do, which is reconcile your credit card statement for that day. We started a business and in 8 years, we grew it to turning over 35 million with 450 staff. And what I found along the way was you'd go into work and you'd have this massive to-do list, like a million things I'm going to do. Okay. And I'd go into work and then I'd finish work and I'd be like, man, I didn't accomplish anything. I didn't accomplish anything today. I was like ridiculously busy, but I've accomplished nothing. And so then all the way from there, I went down to the point where I had one task. I would go into work with one task. What's my one objective for today? What's one thing I'm going to do today? Mm-hmm. And you'll be surprised. We think, if you only did one thing, it's going to take so long. But if you worked out in your day today, you know what that one thing is. What's that one thing that you should do today? Is it a conversation that you should have with somebody? Is it a phone call? Is it maybe reconciling your credit card statements? Is it maybe reconnecting with somebody that you haven't spoken to for a long time? What's that one thing today that would literally change your business or change your personal life? And if you went today and you only did that one thing, it would change everything.
Yeah.
And even if it didn't change everything, it would actually get it out of your headspace because we have all this stuff taking up headspace.
Yes.
So, my credit card statements took up so much headspace.
Yeah.
Whatever I was doing, I was thinking, I need to do the credit card statement. I'd go out to dinner and I'd be like, oh man, when I get home, I've got to do the credit card statement. And then you'd get home and you'd be like, watching TV, but I'm thinking I better do the credit card statement. And then I'm going to bed and I'm like, I didn't do the credit card statement. And then I wake up and I'm like, I've got to do the credit card statement today. So it's taking up all this space in your brain.
But actually, when you get round to doing it, and if you allocate time to do one thing, and recognizing not everything in life is going to float your boat, but it's necessary and will add value, it's never as bad as you anticipate, and it takes
100%,
time.
100%. You know, I was actually reading a thing the other day about Alex Hormozy. I love Alex Hormozy.
For the listeners, who is he?
Alex Hormozy, he's probably one of the best marketing guys out there.
Okay.
For example, he sold a book, and within 24 hours, he sold $110 million worth of his new book that he released.
Wow.
And you just go, what the? So this guy knows what he's talking about. And he was saying what he does is when he wants to focus on stuff, he's got a room and it doesn't even have windows. It's got no windows. And he basically goes in, he shuts the door, and he literally sits there and he just focuses for an hour or 2 hours or whatever he's allocated in that space.
Wow.
Which is, I mean, it seems extreme. But imagine if you could do that and save 8 hours of the day. You could go and do whatever you want during the day, and then as long as you took 1 hour and you just focus for that hour.
Yeah. Again, I mean, you don't have to go to those extremes, but if you allocate time and an environment that is conducive to your being productive or getting the task done, then you're more than halfway there to begin with.
Absolutely. But you know what happens with a lot of us is we have tasks that come up and we've got to do them. And so how do we delegate? How do we start giving stuff out to people? And some of the main problems, people don't delegate. I think two of the main reasons. The first one is we don't trust. We don't trust somebody can do it. So we go, I'm not sure that this other person can do it as good as what I can do it.
Yeah.
So we don't do that. And the second one is that we fear that we're going to lose control. Yes. So if I get somebody else to do it, then I'm not doing it, and I basically have lost control of the project.
I'd have another one, because I know that it's been one of my things is, and it may be a generation thing, you can't relate it to AI so much now, but it's actually asking for help, and then by doing that, being perceived not capable of doing something. So it's a way of my proving I can do it to myself. It's probably a self-validation thing. Yes.
Yeah. And so if you think about those, a lot of us, when we're in business, we don't want anybody else to help us too much, because then what's our value? I mean, if I'm not moving this picture on Canva and I'm just doing some deep work, am I really as valuable to my company or to myself? If I was like super busy for 18 hours, even if I'm not making money, I feel like, man, I'm the most important person.
Interesting you say that, because Mike said that last week. He'd like to employ someone who is better than him to do the job so that he could do other things. That's actually a really hard thing to get your head around, isn't it? But ultimately, you're building something that is of value and can work by itself without you and give you what the reason that you set it up in the first place. And you didn't set it up to be busy 24/7.
True. But then by the same token, I saw you've got a beautiful ring on. Okay. Now, in all honesty, you could have gone fossicking and found some gold. And then you could have gone and done a jewelry course, and you could have learned how to make your own ring, right?
Yeah.
And you might have gone into a diamond mine and found a diamond, and then learned how to cut a diamond, and then learned how to put it all together, and then had a ring. Any one of those things would be completely acceptable. Probably be an awesome, awesome adventure. But you didn't do that. You decided to delegate that.
Yes.
You decided to delegate somebody else to find the gold, delegate somebody else to find the diamonds, delegate somebody to cut it, delegate somebody to put it together. And you said, okay, well, this whole process, I'm happy to pay this much for the item. Exactly the same with your clothes, with your tiny house, with your salt lamp, with everything that we have. 95% of what we have, we've delegated.
But that's material things. I get it on the material side of things, but when it comes to services, there's a slightly different mindset.
So could you study to be a doctor?
I wouldn't have the patience. Yeah.
But you've delegated it to somebody else. They've gone to school for 7 years to study, and they're giving you that service.
Yes.
So the services and the goods are exactly the same. We delegate all the time. Could you?
That's a mindset thing. That's a really, really important point, isn't it? It's a mindset. We don't think twice about parting with our money for material goods, but when it comes to the value of the service, we think twice.
I'm not 100% sure about that. Because if you're going to service your vehicle, for example.
Yes.
What does the guy cost to service your car? Like maybe 150, 200 bucks an hour? We don't think about that. We don't go, oh, I wonder if I should spend $150 an hour to get the car serviced. We just go there and we get the car serviced because it's come up and it needs to be serviced.
And again, okay, I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Absolutely.
That kind of thing is the need, the have to. But when it comes to personal or professional development, it's funny how it always is the last thing that we reach out to ask for help and kind of put ourselves on the line. It's like I was referring to earlier. It's like, I can't do this. And actually, it's a realization that you're not meant to.
Yeah.
There's a reason there's so many different skill sets around, is because you could not possibly contain everybody's skill set yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think with regards to us buying the service, let's face it, we know that if we exercise more and we eat less food, right, we're going to lose weight.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's a given. Calories in, calories out. If you just don't have calories coming in and you're doing some exercise, you're going to lose weight. But we come up with all excuses why we can't lose weight. I'm a prime example. I'm stressed, so I've got to eat chocolate. I'm watching a movie. I can't watch a movie without popcorn. But all these excuses that we come up with. And then in society now, we want instant.
I know, yeah.
So
yeah.
I go, look, I put on an extra 10 kgs, and it was from eating biscuits and chocolate and all the wrong stuff. I know that I should actually just go and diet and get rid of it. But maybe I could try Ozempic. Pop a quick tablet, cuts it out, bang, next thing you know, I'm skinny, right? I think I'll try that instead of just trying the logical, go walking, eat less food, drink more water, all the basic stuff. And that's a society that we live in. Even like homeopathic stuff, it takes a while for a lot of it to actually kick in, right? And so if you've got an ailment, and I mean, medicine's amazing. It's able to cure incredible things. But we're so used to this quick, I want it fixed right now. And most people don't actually know how the brain works, which is such a sad thing, because in school, they should have spent most of the school teaching us about how to use our brain. But they didn't. They taught us about cumulonimbus and cirrus clouds and Pythagoras' theorem and, I don't know, some other stuff that I've never, ever used in my life. I've been 12 years learning stuff that I've never, ever...
Yeah. It's all about relativity, isn't it?
Yeah. So how do we bring people to realize that their brain is like their most powerful asset that they've got? They don't really give it a second thought. They don't realize about all the limiting beliefs. I'm a timeline therapist. And so with the timeline therapy, you've done timeline therapy?
No.
Have you got brothers and sisters?
Yes.
What have you got, brothers, sisters?
One of each.
Older, younger?
I'm the eldest.
You're the oldest. Okay. All right, cool. So imagine your life is laid in a line right from when you were little. So you're little, and your brother comes and snatches away your toy. And so you grab it back, and now he starts crying, and mum comes up to you and she says, Philippa, you're stopping a horrible little girl, right? Mm-hmm. Share with your brother. And you go, okay, and you share with your brother. Now you build a belief at that age. You believe, if I don't share this toy with my brother, mum's not going to love me. Mm. So I have to give of myself to get love.
Yeah.
You build that belief.
Yeah.
Now it goes a little bit further. You go to school and somebody wants something from you. You've done your homework and they want to take your homework. And you say, you can't have my homework. And then they go, well, I don't like you anymore. I hate you or whatever. And you go, whoa, that's true. They don't love me because I didn't give them what they wanted. And it's got to be true because when I was little and I didn't give my brother what he wanted, mum didn't love me. So that belief must be true. And you go through your whole life finding places.
Subconscious, yeah.
You find places where that belief is true. You find places where people don't love you because you didn't give them everything. And maybe you become a people pleaser. Maybe you become somebody who literally just gives everybody everything because you want them to love you. That's your timeline. It's fascinating, but to break it, it's like imagine a pearl necklace with a whole lot of pearls on it. And to break that timeline, if you went in and you broke one off, all of them would fall off. The timeline's exactly the same as that. So the pearls are called gestalts, and the little gestalts are like these beliefs that you build up along the way. But we've got that running in our minds. Every single one of us has got massive limiting beliefs. It doesn't matter how happy you are. We've all got these massive limiting beliefs running.
I understand the theory that you're talking about, but the very fact that you use the metaphor as a necklace, and if you break one of those beads, the whole thing, just reminded me of the services that you offer, the problem. So you've taken one of those pearls away, it makes everything else land on the table. And so it actually helps you look at those pieces and put them back together, weaving it together with a new string. I love the metaphor of it.
So my whole theory is that you need to delegate so that you can elevate and so that you can accelerate. And it starts off with delegating. So if you're working on your own in a business, you need to get people to help you. Once those people are helping you, you can actually elevate out of your business. So now you can look at your business and go, hey, how can I do this better? What other opportunities are there, etc., etc. And once you've done that, then you can accelerate because now you've already got people doing it. You're out there looking at it and saying, oh, we could do something better. And so you can put more people in and you can really, really grow your business really, really fast. But it all starts with the delegations. You delegate, elevate, accelerate.
I love that theory. Yeah. So how do we apply that to everyday life?
In our everyday life, what is there in your everyday life that you don't like doing and that's not really high value? Okay. So if something comes into your world, you've got 4 options. Somebody sends you an email and says, hey, can you do this for me? I'll give you an example. A friend says, hey, Louis, can you help me move? Right?
Yeah.
Now, I've got 4 options. I can do it. I can say, yep, let's go downstairs, get in the vehicle and let's go. I can schedule it. I can say, look, I can help you, but I can only help you on Saturday.
Yes.
Okay. I can delegate. I can say, I know that Peter down the road's got a vehicle and he could help you.
Yeah.
Or I could delete. I could say, look, I'm sorry, I can't help you. I just don't have this bandwidth or the space at the time.
Yep. Yep.
So those are the 4 options that I've got. Now, there's a thing called the Eisenhower matrix. And in the Eisenhower matrix, he just goes from important to unimportant and urgent to not urgent. And if something is important and urgent, you need to do it straight away. If it's important but it's not urgent, you need to schedule it for later. Okay? And if it's urgent but not important, you can delegate that.
Yep.
We live in an age now where there's just ridiculous amounts of information.
So have you got any tips to help people decide on which information is valuable? And is it just a matter of trying it? Is there like a guideline or something? Because there's so many experts right, left and center. How do you decide who is going to give you the value and which ones to dismiss? Because there's so much, we're being bombarded with so much information. And again, I'm guessing it's about deciding which problem you want solved and seeing which will, but of the millions of people coming at me. I mean, okay, say for myself with mentoring, there's a lot of personal development mentors out there. How do people decide who's for them and who's not?
It's an amazing question. That's an amazing question. So I think initially what you would do is, what is your big picture? Where do you want to end up? And the person that's going to mentor you, are they where you would like to end up?
Yeah.
Or they're potentially on the journey to where you'd like to end up.
Yeah.
You know, you might want to run a marathon and you don't want who's saying, like, he's going to say, ready, set, go, and he's already going to be there and you're still going to be taking off. You know what I mean? You'd be like, man, this is like, this guy's no good, okay?
Yes.
But
so it's like
a
ladder, isn't it? Yeah, it's whichever rung of the ladder that you want. Somebody a few rungs ahead, but not too far ahead.
Yes. So you want somebody a couple of steps ahead, but who's actually doing what you want to have done. Okay. And unfortunately, we live in a world now where there's so many people, everybody's trying to tell you how to do stuff. AI is trying to tell you how to do stuff. You can go onto ChatGPT and it'll tell you how to do something. You go onto Claude, it'll tell you something different. Grok, it'll tell you something different. And then you can talk to like 100 coaches and they'll all tell you different stuff. I think it's all valuable stuff. But you know, there's that saying that when the student is ready, the teacher will arrive.
Yes.
One thing about coaching is that no coach can actually persuade you or convince you to do something that you don't want to do. We can definitely guide you, like amazingly guide you. And if you go, I'm going in this direction, and that's the direction I want to go in, we can give you tools to support you on that journey. But we can't just drag you off into another direction that you don't want to go into. And that's a big thing that I find with a lot of coaches is they're trying to tell you what to do.
Yes, it's lived experience, somebody who's been there and someone who's going to really listen to you. And it's something that sometimes you just can't put into words. As an energy, you resonate with somebody, they get you, they talk back to you as to what you want. And ultimately, it's facilitating someone in their journey, walking alongside them. So when they face plant, you're there. I think the listening, one of the things that I found over the years is initially when you start out, you've got a lot to say, you've learned a lot of things, you've read a lot of books and you want to go, I know, pick me. But actually, I think the skill set in any kind of mentoring, coaching, whether it's physical, mental, or health, is actually the listening side of things, because that way, I'm sure you've experienced on the business, you actually get to the root of what is wanted and what is not needed anymore. And I think those two fit together, don't you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I actually had an experience this morning, and I have a lot of meetings and I love talking to people and getting to know them. I spoke to a lady and she told me about herself, and then she said, okay, tell me about yourself. And I started telling her, and I literally got 2 sentences in, and I was trying to explain to her, this is where I was. And she just immediately launched into telling me how that was wrong and I should have done this and I should have done that. And then she proceeded to tell me for 20 minutes about how I was wrong. And that's cool. That's cool. But she hadn't listened to the whole story. So she didn't actually know that that's where I was and that I've done all this work. So she didn't actually realize I'm way more qualified than what she is in all the stuff she was telling me. But I just patiently listened and politely nodded as she was going into this whole thing. The beautiful thing for me is I have experiences like that. And then I think about myself and how I deal with other people. How many times have other people been saying something? And I mean, I used to be terrible for this. People would be saying stuff and I'd be like, I've got an idea, and I'd just jump in with my idea because I came from a big family, and if you didn't jump in, it was stretch or starve. Otherwise, you were gone. I mean, the conversation might go in this direction and it could be in any direction in 2 seconds. And so,
yeah, well, I was different because I was small. So I go, look, what about you? You know? That was my timeline. Yeah, jump up and down. And again, until you have the bigger picture, but those things are beautiful. They are lessons in themselves. So in that moment, you can choose whether you work with that person or not, which is one thing, but they're also mirroring to you why it's important to listen. And that is obviously one of your values and helps you to keep that up the top, because sometimes we lose sight of things.
Absolutely. I mean, my journey, by the time I was 25, I had a plumbing business. I had 10 plumbers and I went to sell it. And the guy said to me, who does your accounts? And I was like, I do it. And I was so proud. I was so proud because, if you want something done right, you need to do it yourself.
Yep.
And so he's like, who does the accounts? And I'm like, I do it. Who does this? I. And he said to me, Louis, your business is worth nothing. And I still remember that feeling, that sinking feeling in
Oh,
my stomach, because, a business is like a child. Hey, you've grown it
absolutely.
up and you've got all these people and you think it's like amazing. And then someone tells you that your baby's ugly and you're like, it's devastating. It's devastating. Okay. I don't know. I've never had an ugly baby. I've never seen an ugly baby. Not that I've told anybody. I had this real sinking feeling in my stomach. And he said, because I've got to find another Louis who knows plumbing, who knows accounting, who knows all these things. He said, and where am I going to find that? It's almost impossible. Fast forward 5 years, I started another business with my brother. And this one we grew to having 200 staff. And then when it came time to sell that business, we spoke to a guy and we said, this is what we want to do. And he said, who does it? And none of the fingers pointed to us. And we were able to sell that business for 5 million within 2 weeks
Wow.
because we had such good systems and structures in place for the
Yeah.
business,
Yeah.
But
Point is that having those systems and structures are important, because if you fall sick, then the whole thing falls to pieces. Is that what you're saying?
absolutely. But it also is worth money. It's worth money to the next person coming along.
Those
Um,
systems, yes.
absolutely. And this is in business. And if you think about your personal life, what have you got in your personal life that you do every day that you could just put a system in to make it easier? I go to a lot of networking events and stuff and I meet people. And I used to just get their business card and I would just get their business card and I'd be like, let's catch up. And I put their business card in my pocket. And then I'd come home and I put their business card on a pile in the shelf. And I had this massive pile of business cards on the shelf. I didn't even know who the people were. And then I was like, well, I go and meet new people all the time. How can I make a system so it's easier for me? And so what I did was I created a WhatsApp. And if I met you out and about, I would say, hey, let's connect on WhatsApp. And I'd share my WhatsApp with you. And then I'd take a selfie of you and me.
Good
And
idea.
I would share the selfie with you on the chat that you've just started. And I'd say, so lovely meeting you at the podcast today, or so lovely meeting you at the beach, or so lovely meeting you wherever I met you. And that way, I always know who you are
Mm.
and I know where we met and I've got all that information. And as we get older, it's easier for us to remember where that information is, which is pretty awesome.
Absolutely. And it also triggers your memory back to the conversation, because if you can't picture the person or where you met them, it's actually hard to remember any conversation and pick up a conversation about something, which again is about what you were listening to. So it feels like it's personal as opposed to just reconnecting because you met
Yeah,
them. Mm.
yeah, absolutely. So there's a system that you could put in everyday life.
So on a bigger scale, what is the business that you do now?
So I provide virtual assistants. So I've got staff in the Philippines, Egypt, Nepal, and South Africa, and I provide them into local businesses. So
Wow.
local businesses need somebody to do their accounts. They need somebody to do their social media management. They need somebody to answer their phones, any of that type of thing. Literally, I get staff in the Philippines to do it. But I'm slightly different in that I get them AI trained. So they come into your business and they're already AI trained. So let's say you needed somebody to help you with your podcast. You go, Louis, I want to get more guests on my podcast. Literally, we could put a virtual assistant in, and that virtual assistant would reach out to all your ideal clients and they'd chat to their ideal clients. They'd start commenting on their posts. They'd come and look at your stuff, and then they would chat them into having a coffee chat with you to decide if they were the right person to have a meeting with you. And all of that can be done by a person working for $10 an hour, right?
Wow. Yeah.
So then by the time it comes to you, you're literally just going like, bang, these are my 5 guests that I've got. You've got the calls already booked in.
Mm.
And so then you can focus on how do you do the bigger things? So you're doing this amazing podcast and it's phenomenal, but how can you monetize this podcast?
Yeah.
It's not that you're greedy and you want to make money, but like, how do you monetize this so that you can actually offer it to more people so you can help more people? But to do that, you need to kind of free yourself up from what you're
Yep.
currently doing. So if you
Mm.
could get a VA to help you to reach out to more people, edit the videos, send out the snippets, do the promotions, then that would free you up to go, hey, who else could I talk to?
Yes.
What else are my clients buying that I could get to sponsor the program? And you could start looking at that whole aspect to make it more viable for you.
Yeah.
Most people think podcasters are making millions of dollars, and literally most podcasters are actually just doing it because they genuinely love their community and they just
Absolutely.
genuinely want to help their community. But I don't think they're given enough credit, because people go, well, I mean, you've got a YouTube channel, you must be making millions, you must be like the Kardashians. Why don't you have a Rolls Royce?
Well, the thing is, I do all the editing myself, and I do all the researching and all the social media and all that kind of thing. So to your point, and I love the conversation. I love doing the research and finding guests, and I just love meeting people. And for me, as you say, we do it because we love it. And I started it because I wanted to spread hope and goodwill to other people, to encourage other people, because everybody's got a story. Somebody will be listening to this and find something within our conversation that twigs with them. If not, they can share it with somebody. I heard this today, and that's what it's all about for me. And it's grounded. It's not highfalutin. It's lived experience, because there's a lot of stuff out there with celebrities and all sorts of things, but lovely though they are, it's a world away, like the rungs on the ladder. It's a world away from where we are. So it's important that we do ground it. But I get your point, because I've got a creative mind and there's a million things I'd love to do as well. So I've clocked that one. Not that I hadn't thought of it before, but yep. Again, it's that hammer, isn't it, on the head as a reminder.
Well, look, I mean, it literally just helps you to accelerate. And ideally, everybody that's listening should really be liking this post just in appreciation for what you've done, putting some comments in there telling us, what are you going to implement? What's one thing you heard today that you're going to implement? Put that in the comments just so we know that you got benefit out of this podcast.
Yes.
And definitely share it with other people. Share it with people that you think are going to benefit. Because what happens a lot of times is we just read stuff or we hear stuff, and even though it resonates with us, we just kind of move on to the next thing. Whereas if we can share stuff that really resonates with other people, really we're able to help more people. So, that would be beautiful.
I think to your point, it's also we're so in such a fast world, we don't stop to appreciate the value of what we've just read or just heard or watched, and saying thank you for it. It's a very small gesture, and that's why you hear all us podcasters saying, please press the subscribe button or press like and leave a comment, but people don't. So I make a point, to your point about that woman talking to you, I make a point of doing that myself, because you have to mirror it.
Yeah, because it's a lot of work. It's a massive amount of work to set up a podcast. It's a massive dedication. And people see this and they go, oh, you just chatted to somebody, and then it turned up on the socials. But it didn't. There were meetings before. There was finding and sourcing the people. There was like doing the actual podcast. Then there was the hour or two of editing the podcast. Then it was breaking it up into reels and putting those reels onto socials. There's all of that stuff that you've done before people can actually see this part. And look, granted, if you want to accelerate, you could delegate all that stuff. But I think even if you're not in business, the B-Myth would be a really good read for you. There's lots of people that are so busy that we're not appreciating life. When you go on a picnic and you're all sitting under the tree and there's some person running around and like, oh, there's so much to do. And you're like, just sit on the picnic blanket under the tree and chill. That person, they need a copy of this book.
And also sit and talk to the people on the picnic blanket, and don't get your phone out and talk to somebody else, because that really annoys me big time.
True.
Okay, so talking of books, is there a book or a person or both that has influenced your journey?
I think there's a couple of books. The Who Moved My Cheese?
Yes.
If somebody gets retrenched, loses their job, tells me that they've resigned and they're changing a career, that is my immediate gift to them. I will immediately go out and get them a copy of Who Moved My Cheese, and I will post that to them with a note. That is a book that I think, ageless, It's a parable like the bee myth, but it's an ageless book. Atomic Habits is a phenomenal book if you want to learn about being more productive in your world. The E-Myth is incredible. I love the E-Myth. Love, love, love the E-Myth. I actually wrote the B-Myth, and then I was like, I feel a bit guilty when there's the E-Myth that is so amazing.
Play on words, and why not? Remind me, what is the E-Myth about?
The E-Myth is about when you're starting business. So it talks about a lady, and she's starting business, and she's got a pie shop. She's amazing at cooking pies. And then they go, hey, you should start your pie shop. And then she starts a pie shop, but then she needs somebody at the counter, because now she's running between the counter and trying to make the pies. And then she needs an accounts person because she can't manage the money and paying the suppliers. And it's about that whole process.
Yes.
It's about how people think that they can just become an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
But it's more than just making pies. You've got to be good at marketing. You've got to be good at sales. You've got to be good at accounts. You've got to be good at everything. So it's a phenomenal book.
It also reminds me on that ladder, on that career ladder, and being an old fart that I am, when you look back, it's really looking at what's important to you, because some people aspire to be at the top of the ladder, but the further up you get, the more responsibility, and it's further away from what you love doing. So the pie woman may love making pies and may not like being an entrepreneur. So it's important. There's no one role is any lesser than the other. Just make sure that you're fulfilling the role that fulfills you, as opposed to what you think you should be doing.
Absolutely.
Do you have any quotes or special words that keep you inspired?
One of my favorite quotes at the moment is, technology has never moved so fast and will never move so slow again.
Wow, that's scary, that last bit.
It's going so incredibly fast at the moment. I actually train people on AI, and one of the problems is that even we can't keep up. I'll teach you how to do something today, and there's 10 steps to do this. And then tomorrow I go, oh, there's a new program, it's only one step. And then the next day I'm like, you don't even do it anymore. It just automatically does it for you.
Wow. It's good that you've got the mind to stay on top. To me, if your roots are strong in what you're doing, you can be more flexible with the conditions that are around. It's a bit like, I'm just trying to remember, was it Kodak that didn't move with the digital side of things? And you can fall flat on your face. I mean, their name is still synonymous, but maybe it's just because I was around in the 70s. My daughter was going through my photos the other day, and we used to send the film in, and you got a big photo with two little ones. And I said, your grandma used to send me all her little photos, and there's hundreds of the kids. Funny.
Yeah, I remember that. Those were the days. Hey, you took your camera in, you never knew, because some of those photos might have been taken months ago, years ago. You get back from your holiday, you're like, I'm so excited, I got such cool holiday photos. And then you like look at it, and it's like the whole thing is just blank.
Talking of blank, what do you do when you find yourself in a funk or frustrated? How do you get yourself out of that?
I have a firm belief that the more we feel in control of our lives, the more we are able to stay out of a funk. When you feel that the whole world's doing stuff to you,
yes,
it's very easy to feel really down. When you watch the news and you go, oh, there's all these terrible things happening, super easy to get down. But when you go out there and you just smile at people on the street, you give somebody a compliment, or you ring a friend that you know might be going through something, you immediately feel better.
Serving others, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, it's you putting stuff out into the world, you deciding. There's a saying like, change how you look at the world and the world changes.
Yeah, it's a Wayne Dyer expression. I'll look it up. But yes, basically, it's all about the way that you frame things, really. Talking of change, if I was your fairy godmother and I could grant you one wish in the world, what would you change and why?
What would I change? I'd like to see less angry people in the world. I'd like to see less angry people and less sad people in the world, because we live in such a beautiful time. We live in such beautiful conditions, in such a beautiful world, and people get angry about somebody cut them off in the traffic, and they get super angry about it. Really, you're sitting in a luxury car you've got your air conditioner on, you've got your music on, you've probably your bottle of water, fresh water next to you. You literally are, you're like a king. King Solomon's throne was probably not as comfortable as what your car seat is. What if somebody's in more of a hurry than you? Maybe they're taking their wife to the hospital. Maybe something's happened to a partner. Maybe they're just super excited because they're going on a date. Whatever that is, they're in more of a hurry than what you are.
Yes.
You're all
yes.
going to get to the same place.
It's about keeping it all in proportion and perspective that we shine things on. And the sadness is, I think ultimately, it goes back to the busyness and being the busy and wearing it as a badge of honor. It's not comparing yourself to somebody else. It's like you have a unique set of skills. You're not behind, or you shouldn't be further ahead. You're exactly where you need to be. And it's all about acknowledging the beauty and the simplicity of what is around us. And that gives you peace of mind.
Yeah. I read a really cool thing, and it showed you our lives in a line. And we basically have today, and then we have our previous history. And our previous history is our perception of what happened. It's not even what happened.
Yeah.
It's how we perceived what happened.
Yeah.
And if we live in that perception, then we get depressed because we perceive that all this stuff has happened to us. And then from today going forward, we have our perception, not reality, our perception of what might happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I might get to 150 and not have any money, and that creates anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
So going back, our perceived thing of the past, depression. Going forward, our perceived view of the future, anxiety. And so many of us live in the anxiety or the depression that we forget that we're actually right here, right now, this very second. Where are you? How do you bring yourself back into the present and really just enjoy this moment? Enjoy this moment in time, because this is the only thing that's really real right now.
What a beautiful way to end the reality of it all. Thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute delight, and pearls of wisdom, as you said earlier. Bless you, Louis.
I love it. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciated this.
You're more than welcome. You take care.
See you then. Bye.
Well, there were some pearls of wisdom in that conversation, weren't there? And as Louis said, please like to show your appreciation and let us know the benefits that you got. And also subscribe, because I've got some amazing guests coming up in the next few months, and you'll get notification as to when they're actually published. And share it with anybody you think will benefit from it too. If you've got any ideas for guests or subjects that you'd like me to cover, feel free to email me on info@philippaross.com. I'd love to know, because I'm here to serve you and give you information and entertainment. So until next month, have fun, dig deep, open your mind to a world of possibilities, live life with a generous heart, and take steps to minimize waste and maximize your own potential.